Hello, my name is Sam Sloan. I've been an online facilitator and trainer for around about the last 10 years, and I get so many questions about how to utilise the best functionality from these online platforms. So I've been doing lots of mini videos on Zoom, and let's do another one this evening, just regarding how can I switch all of the tools and the functionality on in Zoom to get the best out of the platform whilst I'm having my meetings or my training sessions, or even those family Zoom sessions that we all quite seem to enjoy. So I'm going to nip into the accounts. If you haven't set yourself up an account, set one up. Super easy. You can have the free account, and all of this functionality is available on the free account as well. So don't think you've got to spend lots of money. The only limitation is it's 40 minutes at a time, but nonetheless you can still use all of the functionality. So where is it? How do we turn it on? So let me share with you then. I'm just going to go into my meetings. Once you've signed in, you've got yourself an account, etc. You'll get a personal profile, and you'll list all of your meetings that are coming up, your webinars, your recordings, and settings down that left hand side. So once you've logged in, you've got yourself all set up, etc. You can click into settings, and this is where the fun really begins. Things like a waiting room. Do you want your participants to actually wait whilst you're in the main session, maybe setting things up, etc. You don't want them necessarily coming straight in. Well, you can set up a waiting room, and it's super easy to do that. Literally just click the toggle and that creates the waiting room. You can turn it on and off in the main session as well, which I'll show you in just a second. Meeting passcode, I would always recommend that you have that turned on. I'm not going to go through absolutely everything here. I don't think there's probably anything else that's really massively important on this one, but this is how I've set mine up. Host video, so if you want your video on as soon as you start the session, you can turn that on, and the same for the participants as well. The audio type's quite a handy one. I have telephone and computer audio, which gives individuals opportunity that if they don't want to, for instance, join in through the internet, if you like, via Wi-Fi, then they have the opportunity to actually call in as well. That makes it super easy for the learner also. So let's just go back to my settings. So that is literally just click on that little radio button there. What else have we got down here? Mute participants on entry. Again, this is quite handy if you don't want people coming in and sort of making a disturbance, for instance. And again, you can turn that on and off in the main meeting. Upcoming meeting reminders, quite handy. What else have we got? Chat. So again, I'm going to show you the chat functionality that you can turn on in here. Do you want to prevent the participants from saving chat? Well, not in this particular case, I don't know. That would be absolutely fine if they wish to do that. Private chat, that means that they can chat to one another in the meeting. That's quite handy actually, sort of sending messages back and forward to various different participants. That's quite useful for the participants to do that. I've turned auto save chats off. Don't need to do it. If I wanted to save it, I very probably wouldn't forget at the end of the meeting. One little handy thing to have on is to play a sound when somebody joins or leaves the session. That can be quite useful actually. And I've had that set to everyone, so everybody is actually drawn to the attention if somebody drops out or somebody joins as well. File transfer, this is where it starts to get quite juicy now, because the file transfer, we actually, well, you don't have to have it on, but you can transfer documents in chat. You can pop those in, share them with the delegates, share them with your teammates, etc. Great. Even for huge documents, I've never found anything that it won't share yet, like your slide decks and all of that type of thing. Superb. Shares PDFs out, all sorts of stuff. Feedback to Zoom, that's just more if sort of things go wrong, etc. Co-host is quite a useful one as well, to have somebody else not just being the host but also co-host, and they can then set things going like the polls, etc. Now I've turned my polling on so it can't be turned off, and all of these sometimes aren't necessarily turned on when you very first select the account. Show meeting toolbar I find is another useful one to always have that on, and that helps the delegates as well. Show Zoom windows during share, that's another quite useful one. and also screen sharing. So in other words, who can share their screens and their PowerPoints and their documents, etc. In this particular case, I've only got me, but again, you can change that when you are in session if you wish to. Annotation tools, well, this is where, again, it starts to get really fun, and I like to have those turned on to make sure that my delegates can actually draw on the slides, for instance, and I find that very, very useful. The whiteboard allows saving of the whiteboard content and auto-save whiteboard content when sharing is stopped, and I save it as a PNG file. Again, I don't want to lose the learner's work, so I find that quite useful to have. Non-verbal feedback, now this is an interesting one. This is your ticks and your crosses and your little hands up, and again I'll show you that in just a second. And your meeting reactions is when you can, that's on the very bottom toolbar, where you can just literally click on two little reactions. It's like a kind of sort of hands up type thing or a thumbs up, and that appears in your cameras as well. Something I learned actually last week, which I didn't realise, if I'd removed a participant, if this isn't ticked, they can't get back in. I didn't know. I unfortunately removed somebody that had come in an hour early for the session, and unfortunately we couldn't get her back in. So that was a massive learn for me. So allowing participants to rejoin is quite useful. Allow them to rename themselves as well, because sometimes it can divert to like a name, well, a random name or just a number as well, and that can be quite useful also. What else have we got? Breakout room. So this is where, of course, you can allow your delegates to go into separate rooms, and again, that's really useful to have. I don't think there's anything else, probably the virtual background and allowing things like video. Again, if you wish your participants to use video, I share a couple of videos, etc. I think that's the vast majority of things. So let's just go now into the main meeting. So things like the participants, like I've just mentioned there, you get your ticks, your crosses, all of these separate little icons here as well. But we've also got a little tiny menu down at the bottom, so I can change some of those things. I've actually already just set up mute participants up on entry. It will also mute them when they're coming back in from breakout rooms. Allow participants to unmute themselves again. You may not want to do that, but it's an option that you can turn on and off. To rename themselves, play that sound when somebody joins, enable that waiting room, and locking the meeting will stop other individuals coming into that meeting once you've got everybody in there that you wish as well. The chat panel, this obviously will open up the little chat panel. Everyone in meeting, obviously there's nobody else in here this evening, but that's that file transfer that I mentioned, and you can get documents from your computer that you can share with your learners. It's awesome. There's also a couple of other little options in here, and this is where again you can save the chat if there was any, and I can talk with whoever it is that I like also. So we've got the polls ready to rock and roll, and that would allow me to add a question, for instance. So I'd be able to do that, and the breakout rooms option is also there, and that's those little reactions that I mentioned before. That little thumbs up will appear in your camera. Give it a go. Get all of the functionality turned on. A lot of people don't realise it's actually there. Even though you've got that free account, it is. Go and turn it on. Have a bit of a play. See what it's like. I've not got any annotation tools on this evening. I suppose I could, I don't know, what have I got that I could open? I could probably open up a very, very quick document. 1 second, let me just open up just to show you. And I can just share a slide with you. There we go, just make that full screen. I can then go into share my screen, that one, and then at the very top, let me minimize that, at the very, very top there I would be able to use the annotation tools. That's probably not going to share that actually on that screen because I'm recording the other one. 1 second, let me just move that deck over because I need it on there. There we go. Now it's on the right screen, which is where I needed it. So now the annotation toolbar we have along the top, and if I want to, I can type on this particular whiteboard. I can select them. If you're the host, you can move the text around, etc. I've showed you all of this before. You've got things like the stamps, all of that type of thing, and you can change the size of your font and the line width, etc. And of course you can save the whiteboards as well. And that's all the types of tools that you can use when you have enabled everything in the back end, just like I've just showed you to. Go and give it a go. Go and play. Go and see how much of it you can utilise in your meetings. Pop in the comments below as well how you've got on. Tell me what difference it's made. Tell me what else you need. But also don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as well, and then you'll get notifications when I upload new videos. Thank you.